All right, so now we're going to get in and do the final one. Just so you kind of you're on the same page. I've turned these guys that were on lines. I've made them now hidden lines or hidden. So that's what you should see, that difference. Other thing, maybe I got a little bit more descriptive here, so you understood that kind of water was flowing. I also messed with my graphic display options, made sure that was on, and turned this and created a heavy. So if you go right here, I've done that, and I put that at 8, so made that my my silhouette. I think that's about all I did. So all right, let's just keep rolling. And even though this, maybe on surface appears to be not very applicable to kind of maybe what you're doing right this second, it's extremely applicable. Because I want you to kind of understand kind of my thought process, because I think it really will help you move forward with your own design process. And just kind of being a lot more clear about how you are thinking about your designs. It's really critical that you guys start to formulate clearer paths to design intent and design process, being extremely clear to your peers, to your colleagues, to your mentors, to whoever it is that you're trying to discuss it with. So, all right. So let's start to get a little bit more into kind of how we're thinking about inside outside. And so, I mean, I think the obvious place is that there's some kind of area that I'm making this whole thing extremely transparent. And in fact, so I can kind of see a little bit better what's going on. Perhaps I need to make this thing transparent. So I'm going to right click, going to override graphic view, do that by element. You can do it by category, but in this case, that would change all of these. I don't want to do that. And let's just give it a little transparency. So now we can kind of see, I have this transparent transparency right here, and then on this side, so right here. So obviously something's going on there. Let's start to articulate that with perhaps a wall. Maybe that I'll use this diagram for. I kind of created this ahead of time. It's got the diagram color set up for it. So I'm going to just draw something that feels right. Sure. Say okay. All right, perhaps that is important, and maybe it is important enough to kind of be that color. But I also, maybe to kind of be even more clear of what I'm trying to do, I should grab one of these arrows. Let's just bring it over. It's not in the right place, but I'm going to edit it in place and then grab it again. And I will pick a new. And let's point in that direction. I'll pick this. And I'll just zoom in there and fold a little bit so it's more apparent. Okay, finish that. All right, red on red, maybe not my best way of going about this. So maybe this turns to be white. So this is really talking about kind of the inside outside moment, and This seems a little large, given that now we're starting to zoom into this kind of these spaces. So if I want to scale this down, I could methodically kind of move these, and try to do it this way. But I'm going to show you a different way. I'm just going to edit the extrusion. And if I just am down to that base geometry, I can go up here and I can use scale. You might have noticed that before that, when I select it, that scale is grayed out. So the way to scale is just to grab it, get down to the base geometry, scale, and then I'm just going to grab this. We'll just move it over a little bit in the center and so okay. Okay, great. And now I can I'm not terribly pleased with the way that this is. I think this would be better to be the diagram color. And then this, and also say okay. And then let's go ahead and mirror that. Is this actually happening on both sides? Okay, and then I think I really probably want this to be just more basic. So if yours looks like concrete at this point, then you probably should go in here. One, we should just call this out as 6-inch. It's probably 6-inch concrete, but you should edit this and make sure it's on diagram white instead of concrete. You don't want any material to show up. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Now I've articulated that. These trees need to be kind of become part of the design moment, especially now that I pulled that out. So I think I'm going to redesign this a bit so I can just get a lot clearer idea of what I'm doing and what the intent is. Shift over a little bit. Okay, so now you can start to see an alignment happening with the geometry. So really you start to create these outdoor rooms with that tree. One thing I want to be clear on here is that if I move the tree, it would be really nice if I move them all at the same time because it's clear that they want to be in a line. So the way to do that would be to use the align tool, then lock it. So that one to lock it. Lock it. That one, lock it. So even though they were aligned, now they're truly completely aligned. And if I move one, I don't like about this. It's like this is a little too far. This is now need to move a little bit closer. All right, cool. All right, so even though now you might wonder, it's like, well, maybe I should copy these and then replace these. I don't really think that's important here. I mean, maybe. I think the important part is that as you see this evolution, each one is articulating the idea more fully. Okay? Now, at the end, will it be a complete building? No, it's not. It's still a diagram. But what it is that it's better aligning the intent to the manifestation of the form, language, and the idea, interior and exterior, and nature, and so you don't. It doesn't matter that these don't look like that. This was in creating that intention of how trees might help shade, how the roof might help shade, this is actually now bringing that into an alignment with the architecture stuff. All right, so let's do one more. And I may go ahead and fast forward some of this. We'll see. And I'll be pretty quiet. When I talk, I might slow it down. Okay, so copy. I pre-created a curtain wall. I've created a 3x3 rectangular mullion that did not exist before. Again, if you've forgotten, which hopefully you haven't, just as a reminder, under families, you have curtain wall mullions. You can create any of these. Can be basically a duplicate, a new type, or in this case could be a duplicate. And then by obviously renaming it, but specifically getting in here and changing a few things. Actually, that needs to be 3. Actually, correct. Okay, we'll do that. You have created a new mullion type, and so then we go back into wall diagram. You'll see that then I've not only created that, but then I've given it a vertical distance of 3 feet, just to basically do this. Okay, pretty cool. Not really that cool because it kind of hits in a different awkward spot. I can attach it to something. Okay, so since it's not underneath anything, I think, or maybe it's because this is a mess, it's not letting me actually attach it to that. So what I can do is I'm just going to sure that I have a level set. So I've got a roof set. I don't know. This could be a lot of things. Okay, and I'll have that set up. And so when I go into diagrams, I can select this and I can tell it to be connected to these. Okay. All right, cool. Let's just move that to the other side too. So since I'm going to start modeling, what I'm going to do now is to create some interior mouses that are mimicking kind of what you would see on the ground level here. And I selected multiple things. Just one at a time. Okay. Okay. And I need this to be open. Okay, I'm gonna hide this. So I can really get into here. And again, I'm not fixing this one. I'm just gonna fix this one. Doesn't matter that they're different. All right, let's go ahead and edit this. And I made this both in the same moment because I wanted to be able to avoid them both at the same time. So I'm gonna get a void form. Okay, I think I've made a mistake. I'm gonna go undo because this initial form did not go through this form, it wasn't associated with it. So I'm just gonna try to do this one more time. Okay, so what am I doing here? What I'm trying to articulate is that there's these two masses. Either side, from the exterior, they feel like masses. On the interior, they start to carve out space. And that space, at some certain times gets kind of realistically thin to be just construction as you would normally see it. And then at some places, thick, what almost feels unreasonably thick for a way we construct something, but the idea that something happens inside of that space, or whether it's like, say, a whole closet or some storage or some built-in cabinets, don't know. But the fact that now it has it actually allows for us to start to think about what happens in the space. So maybe there's on this side, it could be a powder room. On this side, it could be the walk-in closet, the ensuite bathroom. And when I start to write about this, I would kind of articulate some of the ideas. I don't know if I can get into the weeds and like, this is the ensuite. Well, maybe I will. We'll see. I would maybe that's all alike. All right. So that begins to help us understand that. Now there's probably a divider. So say this is the master suite. This is some kind of support space. Maybe it's like behind it is kind of a personal craft room or an office. Maybe it needs to be a little bigger, but we'll just go with that. All right, so now I need to start to create kind of a major driver in this. So, all right, let's just create a new in-place mass. We'll call this the driver. I'm kind of purposely just going on the floor for most of this stuff, but realize that you could set this to be drawn on any of these depending on what you're needing. I could have drawn it kind of on these surfaces if I needed to, depending on what I'm trying to achieve. So just keep that in mind. And the other thing you can keep in mind is that if you want to create a reference plane that is completely at the diagonal, you could be in this and you could actually make a diagonal reference plane and draw on it. So you just would name it and then go through and set work plane to that name. I'm not needing to do that. Great. Just now go back and do. Okay. All right, so let's just create that. All right, we're going to select it. We're going to give it a material. This one will be driven by the diagram color. And let's just make that 8 feet. Okay. Then I'm going to create another void form because I'm really wanting to kind of continue with this idea. This idea of this transparency kind of happening. So now I just need to align this a little bit better with things. What is this? I don't know if the bed is right here, then maybe it's the header. If the bed's right here, maybe that's some kind of built-in shelving and or maybe fireplace, something. Bedroom, entertainment, that's where the TV goes. Anybody believe in that in your bedroom? Okay, over here, what is it? Again, I don't know. Maybe on this side of the wall, it becomes the kind of podcast station if you're doing something like that, or maybe it's just a work from home environment. Get pretty thin. I just want that to bridge over, but maybe it's just barely something treatment on the ceiling. Okay, now we have the deriver. So, voila. Okay. Let's do one more thing. And let's turn back on that. Okay, that's cool. All right, so just to articulate maybe this space right here. Maybe it's the whole thing. I'm going to do one more mass in place. So okay, so what I did was I set the reference plane to be east-west. What I really want is to draw base. I'm going to draw it right here. Extend this up to there. I'm going to extend this one to there. All right, now I'm going to create that form. Sweet. So I'm going to finish the mass. Oh. I'm going to use this curtain system. I'm going to create a system on top of this. already created curtain system overhead. So let's take a look at that. So this is I specifically made this. It's going to have a fixed distance, 1 foot on the grid 1. And see, this is very different than what we've done in the past. It's similarly set up, it's only this would be vertical and this would be horizontal. This would be vertical lines, this would be horizontal lines. I'm going to use grid 1 to be 1 foot apart. I'm going to use this 3 by 3 so I can see the element. And we'll go with that. Select that. Great system. Great. There it is. Okay. And you can see that what's been created is something else, something new. In fact, I don't really necessarily can hide the mass. So now I'm articulating this some kind of scrim, this overhead scrim that is going to go across the entire design, some kind of inside-outside element. Pretty interesting. All right. Okay, the only other thought I wanted to have was to kind of wrap this thing up. Fast forward on this one too. So that completes the thought, right? We have kind of an interior idea. We have our exterior idea. We have kind of finishing this idea of our watershed and how it's been held onto. So yeah, I think we're in pretty good shape. What I want you guys to do is really to start to articulate your process, but using this process. So I want you to really think about how your thoughts in this design for the coffee shop starts to evolve. I literally want you to evolve your and show, given some very basic formal, is there, are they like this? No, but they do want to follow a logical math on how you're beginning to shape space. And obviously you start with your exterior walls, you start about the major architectural moment interior, but you're also articulating how it's connected to the outside and the inside, how those two things are playing kind of roles, how you're dealing with natural light, blocking that off or bringing it in a specific way. So, all right, looking forward to seeing you. Will basically, I want to see at least 6 evolutions for your progress. It will not be fully graded until the end of the assignment, but I want to see development of 6 steps in the evolution. Okay.